A student unexpectedly live-streamed at school, capturing a teacher's big secret. His name is Ken. The moment he stepped into the classroom, his classmates immediately started to mock him. Are you some famous streamer? Want me to give you some attention? You don't even have 5 followers, what's the point of live streaming? As if verbal attacks weren't enough, they started throwing chalk at his head. Ken didn't want to make a big deal, so he chose to endure it. The dean saw Ken's situation and wanted him to take off the camera helmet, but Ken cited the Juvenile Protection Act. Even if you're a school administrator, you have no right to force me. I am protected by the law. Seeing Ken's defiance, the dean decided to take him to the principal. You will regret this. At that moment, the principal was smoking in his office. Ken barged into the principal's office, and the principal hurriedly threw the cigarette into the trash can. After getting rid of the smell, he pretended to be working. After understanding the situation, he asked Ken to take off the helmet, but Ken insisted he wasn't violating any school rules. Seeing that Ken wouldn't budge, the principal decided to take matters into his own hands. But Ken had fastened the helmet tightly, so the principal couldn't force it off. Suddenly, the trash can behind him caught fire. It seemed the principal's cigarette wasn't fully extinguished. The dean rushed to put out the fire, but the flames grew larger. In a moment of crisis, the principal opened the window and threw the burning trash can out, nearly harming the nation's future generation. He took Ken to find the woodshop teacher. They needed to deal with this troublesome thing today. But when they opened the classroom door, the teacher was nowhere to be found. It turned out he had had too much to drink and was napping in the break room. Ken had to wear a camera helmet to school, and had recorded the teacher's inappropriate behavior. The principal knocked on the door, urging the woodshop teacher to come out quickly. The teacher, still half asleep, spoke rudely. To preserve the school's image, the principal quickly pulled Ken aside and told him to go back to class first. Ken got changed and went to gym class. The teacher was asking about the helmet on his head when he was called away by a colleague. The teacher let the students have some free time, and Ken couldn't help but notice the bully's girlfriend's amazing figure. The students watching the live stream called him a pervert. The bully found out about this, scolded Ken and pushed him down. But the bully's girlfriend helped Ken up. Even though she was dating the bully, she didn't approve of his inappropriate behavior. So, she took Ken to find the gym teacher. The boy was live streaming at school. He barged into the office and found the gym teacher having an affair. The scene was very awkward, and the teacher had no idea Ken was live streaming it. Ken went to the school nurse and ended up recording another big scoop. In the infirmary, the nurse glanced at the wound and told Ken to apply the medicine himself. She lamented her loneliness and the need to find a boyfriend. When Ken looked up, he saw the nurse changing her clothes. Realizing he was still live streaming, Ken quickly left. One problem wasn't solved before another arose. Injured, Ken returned to the locker room to find his clothes were gone. He went to the security guard for help, wanting to review the camera footage to see who took his clothes. But the security guard was busy watching an entertaining video, so she didn't have time to help him. She indifferently told him to figure it out himself, then put her headphones back on and continued watching. Just then, a large man walked in. A large man barged into the school and confronted the gym teacher. It turned out, Ken's livestream had recorded the gym teacher and this man's wife in a compromising situation. The man had seen the footage. During the chaos, the security guard became annoyed and angry. She zapped each of them with her stun baton. The large man was taken down, and the culprit, Ken, quickly ran away. Back home, Ken discovered that someone had turned his day's livestream into a meme video. The next day, when the nurse arrived at school, she was met with scrutinizing gazes. She still didn't know what had happened. In her office, she was taking selfies in the mirror when a few male students walked in. They started with flirtatious remarks, making the nurse uncomfortable. Suddenly, he tried to make an inappropriate move and was slapped by the nurse. "You little brat, you dare harass your teacher? Go home, wash up, and go to bed." Ken also ran into trouble at the cafeteria. When paying, he realized he was short on money, so the cashier took back his bowl of soup. Ken was live streaming at school when he suddenly discovered a fly in the cafeteria food. He wanted to exchange it, but the cashier ignored him. "I'm only in charge of collecting money, the food quality isn't my responsibility. Just eat it." As Ken was turning away, the bully knocked over his food, smirking at him. Not only that, the bully also grabbed Ken by the collar, warning him to behave at school. No one helped him, and even the cashier told him not to hold up the line. "Clean up this mess." Ken had no other choice but to eat dry bread. All the staff and teachers were watching the meme video online. The whole school became an internet sensation. Have you ever seen such a terrible school? A security guard who uses a stun baton to solve problems, a lonely nurse longing for a boyfriend, a married female teacher having an affair with the gym teacher, A drunk and foul-mouthed teacher, a cafeteria with poor hygiene, an uncaring cashier, and finally, a principal who carelessly starts a fire by smoking. Once this video went viral, the school topped the trending searches without even buying views. Ken had only been there for 2 days, but he had already ruined a year's worth of work for the admissions office. The principal was furious, almost having a fit. The staff in the video tried to defend themselves, but the principal didn't believe them. The top priority was to make Ken take off the helmet, so he sent the dean to talk to Ken's parents. After the meeting, the principal kept the nurse behind and confessed that he had liked her for a long time. The principal tried to flirt with the school nurse, hoping to take things further. He even touched her hand. The nurse saw through his intentions and flatly refused him. The principal tried to save face by saying he was just concerned about his female subordinates and thanked her for her contributions to the school. After seeing her off with a smile, his attitude immediately changed. The dean arrived to discuss the helmet issue with Ken's mother. She had no idea about the live stream. Hearing the noise, Ken quickly came out to intervene. Just then, a scream came from inside the room. His father had gotten an electric shock. The family rushed him to the hospital, so the helmet issue had to be put aside for now. At the hospital, the family waited for 2 hours, but no doctor came. The large man who had fought with the gym teacher recognized Ken. If it weren't for Ken's live stream, he might not have known the truth. So, he used his influence to help Ken's father get seen sooner. After an examination, it turned out his father was fine and just needed more rest. Ken had offended all the teachers at school with his live stream. He was pushed down by 2 men, and the helmet fell to the ground. He quickly put the helmet in his bag. At school, the principal and others were on high alert, waiting for Ken. As soon as he arrived, they tried to forcibly take his helmet. However, Ken didn't have it with him today, which surprised them. Without the helmet, Ken became a target for bullying. The students started filming and teasing him again, saying, "Hey, helmet kid, why no helmet today?" The bully taunted him about his live streaming. "You're better off just watching from home." Ken had no choice but to put the helmet back on. When the principal saw Ken start live streaming again, he immediately called Ken's father, threatening that Ken would be expelled if he didn't take off the helmet. Just then, the superintendent of education arrived. He praised Ken's actions, saying they were effective in monitoring the school, and recognized Ken's father as having made a great contribution. Ken wore a helmet to school and live streamed, capturing the gym teacher and a female teacher in an improper relationship, exposing the school's dark side. Ken became a little hero. The superintendent awarded a medal to Ken's father, saying their joint efforts would help the principal improve the school. They cheerfully saw the others off. But as soon as the door closed, the superintendent's attitude changed. He instructed the principal to find a way to get the helmet off Ken. With the upcoming election, he didn't want to risk his re-election chances over a troublemaker. The superintendent kept applying pressure, while Ken continued to resist. The principal's already thinning hair was about to fall out completely. Ken's mother was also in distress. She had taken the advice of a neighboring vendor and was selling bad vegetables, hiding them at the bottom of the pile for customers. Unexpectedly, all of this was broadcast by Ken. The viewers of the live stream saw her actions. The mother wanted to teach her son a lesson, as he had live-streamed her selling unfresh vegetables. Customers no longer came to her stall and even advised others not to buy from her. She was completely unaware of this until the neighboring vendor showed her the live stream video, revealing the truth. Furious, she rushed home to deal with Ken. The father quickly intervened, saying, "No matter how angry you are, he's still your son." This only made her angrier. She grabbed a spoon from the table and threw it, scaring the father into silence. What a fighting spirit, her anger was unstoppable. Seeing that Ken still hadn't taken off his helmet, she even grabbed a kitchen knife, intending to deal with her disobedient son herself. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. When she opened the door, she saw it was the police. She quickly hid the knife behind her back and cautiously asked the police what they wanted. It turned out they had come to thank Ken. Ken's luck was unbelievable. The 2 men who had bumped into him that morning were actually wanted smugglers. Thanks to Ken's live stream, the police were able to locate and arrest them. The police took out a certificate of commendation from their pocket and thanked Ken for his contribution. They even saluted him, leaving Ken's family stunned. They never expected that a live stream could help catch wanted criminals. Seeing this, his mother no longer objected. But what about her stall? His father asked a neighbor for help. The neighbor put on a show in front of the mother's stall, praising it lavishly. "Look at these vegetables. They're unbelievably fresh. I want all of them." He picked up 2 tomatoes and sniffed them, exclaiming, "Wow, the aroma is so refreshing." He asked the mother to bag up all the vegetables. With this video, the mother's stall regained its former popularity. When Ken's story reached the principal, he held a staff meeting and instructed everyone to take good care of Ken. Specifically, they had to ensure the school bully wouldn't bother him. With the principal's backing, the security guard would stand up and greet Ken with a smile every time he arrived. Even when Ken couldn't answer a question in class, the dean no longer scolded him. The cafeteria was renovated, and the head chef greeted Ken with a radiant smile. The cashier provided 5-star service with a bright smile, and the food was discounted by 30%. With his helmet, Ken became the school's great hero. The movie is titled Stream, and I recommend you watch the original. Don't forget to like and subscribe.